Alright, Shalom, Shalom. Get right to it. Give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh. Shemar Rashad, that honor to the apostle, brother, elder, great millstone. Shalom to the host. Alright, so let's get right into this lesson. As you see the title, it says, Seek the Lord while it's time, right? Well, everything's good. Right, seek the Lord while it's time. No, we don't. Heavy. Okay. So we want to give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh by Shemar Rashad. That one to the apostle, brother, elder, great millstone. Shalom to the host of the elect. Shalom. Let's get right to it.
The US military has admitted that its latest hypersonic missile test was largely a failure amid concerns that the country has fallen drastically behind Russia and China in developing those technologies. Russia and China are considered the global leaders in missile development, with incredibly fast projectiles meant to evade any current defense system. China's DF series of ballistic missiles has a broad assortment of ranges for various potential combat operations. Russia has Avangard and Zircon hypersonic systems, as well as the Kinjal air-to-surface missiles that it has used in the Ukraine conflict. That's the first weapon of its kind used in actual combat. Meanwhile, the US spent more than $4 billion on missile development last year, despite its lack of success. US President Joe Biden has even admitted that Russia's Kinjal missiles are impossible to stop.
They've just launched their hypersonic missile because it's the only thing that they can get through with absolute certainty. It's, as you all know, it's a consequential weapon, but with the same warhead on it as any other launch missile, it doesn't make that much difference, except it's almost impossible to stop it.
Former Pentagon security policy analyst Michael Malouf says the recent failure will only further delay the U.S. hypersonic missile program.
Failure will have an impact. It will delay any deployment. The ability to deal with a hypersonic that's maneuverable up to Mach 20 is going to be quite a challenge, especially since the United States can't even get its own hypersonic program launched successfully. Right now, any and all missile defense systems in the world are incapable of successfully going after these hypersonic missiles, which China and Russia have already started to deploy. And so there's work. The U.S. does not. And I think that should be, from the U.S. perspective, that should be a real cause for concern in terms of why hasn't the United States at least been able to keep up, been able to maybe accelerate and go ahead.
All right, so let's get right to these scriptures. Let's go to let's go to 2 chapter 15, verse 1. Second chapter 15, verse 1. Let me see. It said, Behold, speak behold, speak thou into the ears of my people the word of prophecy which I put in their mouth. Said the Lord, I cause it to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Right, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imagination against thee. Let not the accusation of them that trouble thee, that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Right, as I read the scripture yesterday. Read again. Say 15 verse 4, it said, for all the unfaithful shall die in the unfaithful. Behold, said the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world. The sword, famine, death, and destruction. Right? The sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wicked had and seek pollute the whole earth, and the hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore, as I said the Lord, I will hold my tongue I will hold my tongue no more as I touch their wickedness, which they had profaned committed, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wicked exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood cry unto me, and the soul of the just complaining continually. Right? The soul of the just complaining continually. 2 Ezra 15 verse 5. Behold, said the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. Right? The sword, famine, death, and destruction. Let's go to Proverbs. Ecclesiastes 12 verse 1. It said, remember now the courageous day of thy youth, while the evil day come not, nor the year draw near, but I should say, I have no pleasure in them. Right? I should say, I have no pleasure in them. Right? So remember now the courageous day of thy youth, while the evil day come not, the year draw near, but I should say, I have no pleasure in them. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 13, verse 5. It said they came from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord and the weapon of his indignation, to destroy the whole land. Right? Destroy the whole land. Hallelujah, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It should come as destruction from the Almighty. Therefore should all hate be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. And they should be afraid and pain and sorrow, it should take hold of them. They should be in pain as a woman that travail. They should be amazed one at another. Their faces should be as flame. Behold, the day of the Lord come cruel, both with wrath, fury, anger to lay the land desolate, and should destroy the sinners thereof out of it. Isaiah 13 verse 11. I will punish the world for their evil, and their wickedness for their iniquity, and I will cause everything of their proud to cease, and I will let the hardness of terror. Right? Let the hardness of terror. What else? Jeremiah 51. Jeremiah 51 verse 1. God said to the Lord, behold, I will raise up against Babylon, and against them that dwell in the midst of them, that raise up against me a destroying wind. Right? A destroying wind. I was sent unto Babylon, fan, that she fan her, she empty her land, for in the day of trouble they should be together, should be against her round about. Read it again. Jeremiah 51 verse 2. And I was sent unto Babylon, fan, that she fan her, and should empty her land, for in the day of trouble they should be against her round about. Jeremiah 51 verse 7. Babylon had been the golden cup in the Lord's hand, make all the earth drunken. Make all the earth drunken. The nations have drunk of her wine, therefore. The nations are mad. Right? The nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen, and destroy Holland for her, take blame for her pain. If so be, she may be healed. Right? She may be healed. We will heal Babylon. We will heal Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go, everyone unto his own country, for her judgment and reach unto the heaven, and lift up even to the sky. Gotcha. Joel chapter 2, verse 10. It was got Joel 2, verse 10. The earth shall quake before them, the heavens shall tremble, the sun and the moon shall be darkness, and the stars shall withdraw thy shine, and the Lord shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great. For he is strong to execute his word, for the day of the Lord is great and very terrible. And who can abide it? Right? Who can abide it? Amos 5 and 18. Amos the 5 verse 18. It say, woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. What's the end for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. Right? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. Read again, Amos 5 and 18. It say, woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. It's darkness and not light. All right, let's go to one more scripture. Luke 21. Let me see which time I got. Let me see. Now we won't. We're just going to get something close. Call it a day with that. Revelation chapter 1, verse 3. It said, blessed he that read it, and that hear the word of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein. For the time is at hand. Right. For the time is at hand. Revelation 11, verse 14. It say, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe coming quick. Right. The third woe coming quick. Let's watch a little bit.
As any other launch missile, it doesn't make that much difference, except it's almost impossible to stop it.
The delay in the U.S. hypersonic missile program.
Failure will have an impact. It will delay any deployment. The ability to deal with a hypersonic that's maneuverable up to Mach 20 is going to be quite a challenge, especially since the United States can't even get its own hypersonic program launched successfully. Right now, any and all missile defense systems in the world are incapable of successfully going after these hypersonic missiles, which China and Russia have already started to deploy. And so there's work. The U.S. does not. And I think that should be, from the U.S. perspective, that should be a real cause for concern in terms of why hasn't the United States at least been able to keep up, been able to maybe accelerate and go ahead.
Right, door will come quick. All right, get a couple more scriptures. 1 Peter 4, verse 7, 4 verse 6. It say, for this cause was the gospel preaching also to them that are dead, that they may be judged according to the man in the flesh, but live according to the Most High in the Spirit. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober and watch unto prayer. Right, watch unto prayer. We are again, 1 Peter 4, verse 7. It said, but the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober and watch unto prayer. Right, watch unto prayer. We're going to close out right there, giving out praise, honor, glory to Yahweh, by Shema Shah. Double honor to the Apostle, Brother Elder Great Millstone. Shalom to the whole elect. Shalom.